Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another very special developer stream for Rivals of Ether 2. I'm joined here by Miguel. How's it going?
It's going pretty well. Happy to be here. Hey, what's going on, everybody?
Hello, hello, hello. Oh, there's the chat coming in on the side. We are streaming today on both Twitch and YouTube. And yes, we will. I do have chat up for both, so when we get to Q&A later, you can ask questions on both. I think this chat that's on stream that you can see is only Twitch. So if you want to see yourself, you got to come to Twitch to chat. But you
Oh,
can.
they're saying my audio is a little low.
Yours is low. Okay, let's
Apparently.
see. Let me see if I can raise Discord on my computer. That's probably the fastest way.
Yeah.
Oh, Discord's at 100. Okay, cool.
Maybe I just need to yell into my mic.
Wait. I could. Yeah. Let me see what your mic's set at in the call. You know how you can do that? Yeah, user volume. I can set your user volume.
Oh.
Let's set
Oh,
you to
okay.
150.
Cool.
All right, talk now.
Talking. Hello, hello.
Still quiet.
Oh, hopefully that's better. Is that any
Um,
better?
Let's see. I can make it louder. Set you to almost
I'm looking at
200.
both chats to get some kind of confirmation. They said it was better.
All right, you're up. You're up.
Thanks,
At,
Tech.
you're up at 180 though, which means I definitely will have to remember to turn you down next call. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, hello.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're gonna want to crank it down.
Give
It'll
us
blow
your
out your
update.
eardrums. Uh,
All right. Cool. So yeah, not a lot. I think because you're one of our newer hires starting at the beginning of this year, if I remember correctly, probably January. So yeah, introduce yourself and then also, yeah, what's your job at Ether Studios?
My name is Miguel Real. Yeah, I started in January. It's crazy because the year's about to be over. So it's going to be 1 year before I know it. I was hired as an associate producer. So I'm here to, keep track of tasks for other folks, help them out, just make sure things are on track. And one of the main things I was kind of brought on to help with was a lot of like live content and cosmetics. So a lot of the stuff that you see in the store and in the shop, I help put there. So I work with the team on like what items are going to be coming down the line, um, how to like what else we may need, certain characters, if they need specific skins or palettes, just that kind of thing. Just a lot of the details around that. It's been a great time though. It's been awesome. It's a cool community. It's a great project. So it's awesome to be a part of it.
Yeah. And then, so how did you find out about Rivals 2 and our team, and what's your connection into Ether Studios?
Honestly, I knew about Ether Studios through Rivals One, just because when it was actually all the workshop stuff is the stuff that brought my attention to it because I knew it existed vaguely before then, but when I knew about all the workshop stuff, I was like, oh man, people are just throwing content at this game. And that got my attention and kind of piqued my interest just because I've always been a fan of Smash. So it was kind of one of those things where like ever since 64, the game launched, I was big into it. So it's just kind of stayed in my brain. And yeah, it was one of those things where it's like awesome seeing Rivals 2 launching and then continuing to follow its success there. And it was impossible to ignore.
Let's go. Yeah. No, I think a lot of it's funny because a lot of our team, I would say half of our team knew of Rivals and was like a fan before, and like half of our team had no idea what it was, right? You know, we have like Corey and Mafu.
Oh yeah, I can understand them
We
being
hit
like,
them
"What
up.
is?"
Yeah, we had to like explain it to them, and then even still to this day, they're like, "This game's really hard," you know. So it's like, I think for some of them, it's like the stuff we're working on now will be helpful to get them to, because we do like weekly calls, right? So we have our weekly syncs on Fridays, and then afterwards we tend to mix it up. Like once a month, we'll do a tournament where we got like me and Trevor and Menace Luke on our team, and who else? Some people, Jamie, Vin, all of us are just sweating, trying to like be as competitive as possible. But like half the team just leaves, right? Because they're like, I don't want to deal with
they're
this amount of
intimidated.
sweat.
Yeah, exactly.
But as we're working on, more casual stuff, like some casual stages that are starting to come online, I'm hoping that we'll get some of those people into the the fun sessions that we do, which are other parts of the month. Um,
Yeah.
but Miguel, yeah, I feel like you do both, right? You enter the tournament and are in the fun games. So
Yeah, I've done a little bit of both, but that's the thing. It's like I'm by no means like a hardcore pro player, but I'm
right,
definitely into it. I mean, it's like growing up with like fighting games and everything. It's like I'll always have that little inkling in me that's interested in getting better. So it's really fun to put all that time into Rivals 2 to want to be better because the gameplay is just it's awesome. Feels good.
yeah, yeah. All right. So you mentioned live production. So that's what I have you as on the title card as well, the live service.
Mhm.
So yeah, just walk us through right now. So 2025, we're almost done. Like what's like the month, right? Like so what kind of, I guess, walk us through the difference between the start of the month patch and the mid month, and then like the types of content that we've been doing consistently.
So the start of the month patches are always the larger ones, just because there's just a lot more content that we pack in there. It's the start of a new event. There's gonna be there's gonna be palettes. There's gonna be skins. There's going to be maybe some other store items, so like emotes and icons. And we started adding stuff like maybe extra death effects or critical hits is another one that we've recently added. So you'll see a lot more of that going on there for the first month patch, just because it's typically stuff that's going to carry throughout the rest of the month. The mid month patch is basically character focused, so there's going to be a specific skin, and that specific skin will have an emote and an icon as well, and then we kind of go back and forth to doing maybe we want to do a taunt this time, or we want to do a death effect, or maybe even a critical hit. That's something that we wanted to try to mix up a little bit so that it doesn't get stale. So typically around the mid months, we drop that bundle that will have all those things for a specific character. And then, we've tried to add a little bit more to the mid months as well, just a couple of store items if we have kind of in the back end or some other things just to give players more choices. But I think because the first of the month is, basically the overall month of the event itself, it's going to contain a bit more.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's where each one we've done, not just the event, all the free rewards, right? So this month we actually have, the Zeta right skin, which is pretty
So good.
just as, I mean, it might even have more work than some of the other low poly skins because we had to do his fire.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's like anytime a character has articles, it's like more work. Yeah, but
yeah,
then
I think since I've started, this has probably been my favorite event. Honestly, just the amount of work that Mafu's done, a lot of it looks outstanding. I mean, the fire capital map, the low poly, like it's so good, and I know a lot of people are really excited about that too.
yeah, this one's funny to me because so Mafu on our team, who's like the lead character artist, does all the new character models, kind of like established the art direction, and was the first 3D artist on the team. He handles like the low poly event. So like to me, in my side of the production brain, right, it's like, oh, this event's easy, right? Because it's like it's not like the same artist doing it. But yeah, even the stage, Mafu did that as well. So yeah, a lot of sick content. But all from, I think all 4 skins plus the low poly stage were all done by Mafu Bash.
Yeah, and he did outstanding work, and it was crazy because Mafu blows my mind a lot of the time because he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I'm just gonna do this thing," and before I know it, it's done. And I'm like, "Wait, like you're still working on it, right?" And he's like, "No, it's done." I'm like, "Wow, okay, cool."
Right.
And then you see it, and you're like, "Man, this is awesome. How did you make this happen?" But I feel like that with everybody on our team. Like everyone on our team does such outstanding work that, I mean, it's shocking to be like, hey, we need to get this thing done. And I expect like an in between kind of like, oh, here's an update. But majority of the time, it's just like, hey, here's what we want, and it's done. And I'm just like, oh, okay, awesome. And it looks great. That's great.
Yeah, I remember the low poly stage one was so crazy to me because we had talked about wanting to do different types of stage skins, right? Like, I think when I first in the design doc, the example was like a seasonal one, right? Where it's like we do Halloween and we just like it's still fire capital, but there's like pumpkins in the background and the sky is darker, right? Like that was an example of what like a I guess this is maybe listed as a common stage skin would be, and it'd be cheaper, right, than the location changes. Um, so like that was an idea, and then I think Mafu just like messaged me one day. He's like, "Hey, I've been thinking about trying to do like a low poly stage skit." He's like, "What do you think of this idea?" As like a proof of concept to prove it, and he had a screenshot of like what he had already done, like just mocked up, and I was like, just that screenshot alone, I was like, "Dude, that looks like it's done." Like we. I
Yeah,
was
that
like,
sounds about right.
and he's like, no, I still need to clean it up and stuff, like to make it functional in game. But he's like, if you like it, then I think I can get it done before this event launched, because I think it wasn't even that long ago, like maybe a month or two ago when he sent me the message.
Yeah, it came together so quickly, and it was
Mhm.
perfect because I know you and I and some folks on the team were like, "Man, it'd be great if we could have this ready by this event." But we were at a point where we were like, "It could happen, maybe not. I don't know, but we're gonna hope for the best." He made it happen, and yeah, it's great, and it's awesome because yeah, I'm noticing a lot of messages where people are saying that this is like one of their favorite events yet. And like I've seen people say like I love low poly fire capital. I would love to see this done to other maps. So I was like, we'll see.
Yeah, I really like the idea of doing the stage skins like a common one that's just taking the one of the skin themes, right? Because then it's like, if there was like a primal stage skin, then you can use all your primal skins on it, and there's a low poly one, you can use all your low poly skins. So like that's pretty exciting, because it makes, yeah, you can just like have like a themed battle, which is pretty cool. So hopefully, as the game goes on, the more established skin lines we're able to keep adding characters and things like that.
Yeah,
um
definitely.
Yeah, I guess. Hold on. I have some more questions. Yeah, so right now a lot of the way that we're updating, so your job is kind of managing or working with the cosmetic team and getting everything in, but also a lot of data entering, which, sometimes we still have bugs. So yeah, walk us through what's the process of like getting these into actually having a bundle and things like that show up in game.
Yeah, so a lot of it is, well, all of it is through PlayFab, which is what we use on our back end, which has been a great experience for me. I never worked with PlayFab previously in my career. It works really well. There's times where it makes me want to hit my head through a wall, but but it usually works pretty well. But typically, yeah, like each one of these that you're seeing in the thumbnail is a bundle, and each of these bundles contain their own items. So it's like, yeah, like Dan just clicked in here. You're seeing that these two things are two different items within that bundle. So if whenever you click into a bundle and you see the different separate items, each item is a different entry in PlayFab. So it's like each bundle is an item. It's something that's created in PlayFab, and within that item, you have to create other items, and that's basically where these come into play. So it's a matter of making sure you create stuff for every individual item, make sure it's listed correctly, it has the correct data and information that it needs, pricing, what have you, and then making sure that those items are going into the bundle itself, which is another item, and making sure all that information is correct. So yeah, it can be kind of overwhelming depending on like what's actually going on, but for the most part, it works out really well. It's just a matter of keeping track of what needs to be this, what needs to be that, and just bringing it all together.
Well, there we got to see why there's still bugs related to stuff, because I just opened I believe it was the anniversary bundle, which is the free
Hmm.
one we added. Just hit A on it, and just a little crashy crash, a small
Little
crash.
crash. I actually think that that's something Tom's been looking into because that was something that we looked into right when that bundle launched for whatever reason. That
Mm.
specific bundle, no other one, but that bundle gave us issues. And Tom's actually got a bug that he's looking into. It's only with that bundle. It's really bizarre.
That is crazy. Hold on, let me share my screen as well so you can be up to date. Yeah. I mean, a free bundle. There's obviously lots of things that can go into that.
Yeah, exactly.
I know the one thing that is funny too is like kind of some different solutions we have. There's one part of PlayFab that's like one of the parts of the web browser that's annoying is using their like shop or storeman feature, because like once you add items, once you get more than like 10 items, it just like doesn't open.
Yeah.
It just starts to hang.
Yeah, and it does a lot. Like, I mean, I know Tom and I have gone back and forth too regarding the shop, just in general, because on the PlayFab end, every event contains its own store, and the featured store that we have contains everything. And when you go into the featured store to try to look at it in PlayFab, it hangs so bad.
Yeah.
Because it's loading so much data. I mean, it makes sense, but there's times where, like when we were running into the issue with the anniversary stuff and that bundle that was acting funny, it was during the other dev stream that y'all were in. And me and like Tom was trying to get into queue because he wanted to play y'all. He just wanted to slip into the queue. And I felt bad because I took that time from him because we were busy trying to figure out what was going on with that bundle. And then PlayFab felt like throwing us a curveball by just being like, now I'm going to make things load like take forever to load. So Tom was like pulling his hair out because he was trying to get into the stream, and then he was trying to fix this issue. And yeah, it was that point. It was pretty frustrating. But normally it works wonderfully and everything's okay. But of course, I mean, I guess it does make sense that if you're going to be going into something that has a lot of data, it's probably going to take a little bit more time. Though we wish it wouldn't.
Yeah, well, I know like this part is a store, right? Like which skins are give you the bonus. Although not even it's actually the funny thing is it's not the store to give you the bonus, right? Because the way you get the bonus is if it has the right tag. But for it to visibly show you that that skin is going to give you a bonus, to come down here is like a store. So like even this one already has enough that I know for a fact this is probably annoying to open. Because there's so many skins compared to like I remember too at launch we had a big problem because when we were testing, right, we're only putting in like, I don't know, 10 items in a store. And for our initial plan, like the buck shop was going to be, you know, like a PlayFab shop. And we only had like 10 items. And then when we go, I think it was like my job actually, like the week before, because like we had like just a bunch of tasks to do. And I was trying to put everything into from the buck shop into the shop. And it was just not even like taking forever. It just eventually wouldn't load. Like once I got to like 30 items. And I was like, at launch, I'm pretty sure we already had like 100 items that need to go to the game. So like right in that weekend before launch, Tom had to like rewrite the buck shop. So the buck shop doesn't actually use a store to display. It's using like just all tags, right? So there's all like, there's a tag that every item that comes in here has called like buck shop. That means it will appear here. And then also, you know, additional tags of like whether it's a skin or a palette or, you know, a platform, etc. It works that method because this would not have functioned, right? Like we wouldn't have been able to add anything or even ever access it if we didn't do that. So yeah, there's just like a lot of workarounds that we have to do.
I can't even imagine how it was with launch because I mean, like I said, I started in January, and it's like from then to now, I feel like we're almost learning new things about PlayFab, like daily, if not weekly. Just little things here and there. And I know that Joe on our team, there's a number of things that he wants to do to kind of maybe improve the PlayFab process in terms of using tags and stuff. So maybe there are things that we can do at some point that will make the process a little bit smoother on the back end for us.
Yeah, I think one of the big ones we have is like for a while we used to have a bug where people would just have something invisible here and they'd be like, oh, I know I'm not out of, you know, I know I haven't bought all the pallets, so like why is it empty? And the funny thing is, if you did buy all the pallets, it doesn't it's not empty. What it does is like there's a hierarchy system in this design. So instead, what happens is it like goes down a tier. So if you have all the palettes, it would pull. I think it's supposed to pull an emote, but if you're out of emotes, it'll pull an icon. I think right now it last I checked, I remember seeing. I think Trevor has everything purchased. I think it might just go right to icons, but it would fill that with a different cosmetic type if you had everything. So when it's empty, what was really happening is there is an item that's on PlayFab that got added for testing or for some purposes, and it's not in the game yet. And for a while, fixing that was like, you would think like, oh, it should be easy. Like, don't show an item that's not out yet, right? Like, you just have it re-roll. But it was like surprisingly difficult. I think Tom eventually we got to a point where we were able to use like the released checkbox that PlayFab wants us to use correctly, because before we weren't able to test. So hopefully you're going to see less of that bug. The only way you would see it now is when we did actually mess up and there's something that's supposed to be released on PlayFab, but we forgot. We left it excluded in the build. And I know the patch on Tuesday had one skin like that, or one palette. It was a yellow.
It was the low poly orange raster, I think is what it was.
Orange,
was
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that one. So that one would come up in your buckshot, but it would just leave a blank spot because in the build, the executable, it said should have been excluded, but on PlayFab it said it should have been released. And that's like the one case. So hopefully we're getting to a point where you'll just stop seeing that bug entirely. But it really is a process to get like the back end and the front end to agree and have all of. There's just so many items too in the game now as well, compared to something like Rivals, where everything in Rivals 1 is kind of just on your local save, except for the actual like DLC skins that we did. Which in Rivals 1 was way different. It meant like if you wanted to, everything else, like you could just give your buddy your save file, right? And like have all of that stuff, except for the DLC skins. Whereas in Rivals 2, it's like everything is, a cloud save file. Well, not everything, but like everything you open the shop, all this inventory stuff is all, tied to your Ether account, which is through PlayFab, through the cloud. And there is still some local save stuff, right? Like your profile settings and your buttons, those are all saved locally, but a lot of this information is now tied to an online user, which is just a lot different organization than Rivals 1 had.
Yeah, and I mean, it's crazy because like you were talking about with the invisible item, there's a lot of hands that go into this process. So there are going to be moments like with that palette where it was appearing in an internal build just fine, but when we were going live, somehow something slipped. So that's going to happen periodically, but hopefully we can get to a point where that happens much less, so people aren't like, hey, what's this empty spot that I'm seeing? At least y'all know that we're able to take care of those things pretty quickly. So if you ever notice anything odd, you bring it to our attention, and we really appreciate it, because of course we want to make the experience as best as we can for y'all. So if there's ever anything that looks odd or off, you let us know. We'll take care of it ASAP. So.
Yeah, the nice thing is the reports come in pretty quickly, right? So like we got Nolt bugs reports going there. I still read Twitter, unfortunately for me and my mental.
Yeah, I was gonna say
people do at me still with like bugs, especially on Tuesdays when we drop a new patch and something's broken. So some of them we fix really fast, right? Like a really common one would be like something is messed up on the featured store, where it's not displaying, or maybe one like this fire capital that we have for coins down here, it didn't come up. That kind of stuff we can fix. Miguel usually fixes it immediately, right? We don't even need to push a build. But then we also tend to do hot fixes like right after, because there's usually some shader or something that broke. So we generally push a build on Tuesday, but we have a hotfix on Wednesday. Usually a hotfix before the end of the day Tuesday, before Trevor logs off for the day, and then another hotfix Wednesday morning, and we get all of the lingering bugs fixed out then.
Yeah, there was this. I know with this event in this patch, we had a few few items that were like immediately prepared for hotfix.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. It's like it's nice to lean on that, but we would really like to get to a point where we don't have to. But it is nice to know that if there's any kind of small thing or issue, the hotfix can typically help out with that, and that's usually as soon as possible. So
Yeah, like I know it's funny because like some of the bugs that happened too, like the Orcane skin that broke.
yeah,
I know
which was
Maple's
random.
right. Maple's uh sorry, swipes and everything were broken for a bit, and we had to like fix that. A lot of the reason they break though is because we are either fixing an old bug that then fixes it, or a lot of times what Corey is doing on our team, Corey's our tech artist, he's fixing something for the character team to make it much easier, right? Like something about this, like on the swipes, for example, it was like the way that the character artist had to recolor those was like really annoying and tedious because there was like case by case basis for each character. So he's like, all right, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to simplify this and update it. So now, you only have to, it will pull from the character's presets and it will work correctly. And then a lot of times he also does update a lot of the skins, but then maybe one or two skins, don't get updated. And then people are like, hey, you broke this skin. And like that's when we are like, oh, okay, well we'll fix it at a hot fix. It's just like one skin that we forgot to update. But yeah, a lot of those changes are to make it, as we add more and more, you don't want like that compounding difficulty to be like, okay, anytime we want to, add a new crag skin, we have to do this because we, weren't willing to fix it for everything. Eventually Corey does fix it for everything, but then that has a chance to break.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and like you said earlier, it's like the more that we're going to add, and that's most certainly the plan, the possibility of like tiny little things happening. But we're, with practice makes perfect. So the more we get to kind of experiencing these set issues and kind of finding our ways around them, then they'll happen less and less.
Yeah. The other thing that's funny for a live service one is like what we've been learning through making character stuff. I think one big learning we found, especially with the Frank and Edalus bundle, is like Edalus and Galvin, both of their skins are just a lot of work.
Nightmares, man. They're nightmares.
I think what's going to happen is like they will probably have less total skins than other characters over the long term, but we'll probably line them up for epics, right? Because it's like if we have to, to like make the skin cool, like if we're like, oh, well, we want it to have a custom ice prison, or we want it to have, its own cool way that it galvanizes. That means we might as well like do, push it to an epic, but then it also means, like it's hard. It's going to be harder for us to do a rare. We'd have to have like a good idea of like what the visuals are going to be.
Yeah, and it's like like how someone was already like Galvin looks like a nightmare to design skins for. That's the thing is like Jamie will come up with great ideas, and he takes into consideration like how it will be to bring that to reality. But Jamie, I mean, y'all seen like the skins that the team has done in general. Just the entire character art team has come together to make some really awesome skins. And I guess what we started noticing pretty quickly is that, yeah, like with Galvin and Edalus, especially Edis. I mean, with Frank and Edalus, we learned that pretty quickly. There's a lot of articles and there's a lot of detail that go into them. So it's one of those things where it's like after being here as long as I have and kind of seeing what goes into them, I don't know if we could ever do like a common skin, you know what I mean? Or like it's like or a rare skin. Like it's almost always going to be epic, especially depending on what the theme is, because the amount of work that goes into it alone. But it's also one of those things where it's like, yeah, after Frank and Edalus, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we kind of know how much time we have to prepare for these things, especially for the characters that have more articles, because that means they're going to have more work. But we're going to make it work. And that's the thing. It's like, I know at one point Jamie was kind of like, man, this is going to be probably a bit crazy, but we made it happen. We made it work. So that's been the awesome part, is kind of seeing these ideas come and get concepted. And then, I mean, some of the cases, it's like, how are we going to do this? How's this going to work? And then it happens, and then it works out wonderfully. But it's just a matter of kind of gauging the amount of time that we have for everything.
Yeah, with Atlas, it's funny because, well, commons are actually easy on him, right? Because it's like the Tiger
that's true.
Atlas, right? It's like, if you've accepted that nothing else is going to change, it's like those rares where, like, anytime we to make a rare in Atlas, we'd have to treat it like a common. We have to be like, this is all, you know, ice is staying the same. Because the moment where we start to change even just one thing, it's like a really slippery slope where you're like, okay, well, now are you going to be committed in like this epic level where everything's changing? Which honestly, this skin is like insanely cool.
It's so good, dude. Yeah, it's crazy. But that's the thing. I know that we've had discussions too where we're like, yeah, this character is going to be a rare, right? Like the skin's going to be a rare. And then we talk about it more and we're like, that's going to be epic.
Yeah, for sure.
And I know for a while you were talking about creating a word that combines both rare and epic. You're like, can we create like a middle tier somehow? I'm like, no, I don't know.
Well, because for other characters too, like someone like Crag, let's go look at Crag, because he has like some rares that change some stuff. Like I think this one's rare. But like it is easier because on someone like Crag, we can pick and choose, right? So he's got his rock, which is a custom model, and his pillar, which is a custom model. But then his down B is just like recolored. I think his side B on this one is just, you know, is just pooling the gold rock color. This back air looks, I don't know. I wonder if Corey went in and did this. I wonder if this is custom or not, or if he like, I wonder if Sakura's using the same thing where it's a checkered. Or he like checkered this. He let you feed 2 colors into back air to begin with. But even this, like you'd have to go back through it because it was probably designed to be like 1 color, so to make it support 2 color. But yeah, he's like easier to do this kind of adjustment with, whereas Daedalus, it really does feel like you're either going all ice or you're not, you're going crazy, right? Because even going through his skins, right, like this one has some ice because this is supposed to be rare, but this was already more work than most rares, the Mecha Atlas.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Primal's epic, right? Because it's like everything changed to bone. That's default. Low poly is rare, but I forget what percent of his articles change. I think a lot of them are updated.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It didn't take too long before I was like, so Galvin and Daedalus have a bunch of articles, and there's a lot of work that goes into them. So then that's like, for me now, it just makes me fear about what potential skins are coming in the future. I know it'll be great, but it's one of those things where I'm like, now I know, like, you know, the amount of work and effort that goes into them. So I can be prepared to make sure that everyone has the amount of time that they need and everyone is able to get things done without stressing.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like pretty much everything on this changed as well, which is like, you know, for a rare, pretty intense. It looks like that's the same mesh, just using the texture, but everything else has like a custom mesh with like this pixel shader. So yeah, the characters are not all created equal when it comes to like how hard or easy it is to make skins.
Yeah, and it's one of those things too when we're like planning out the next year. It's one of those things that's pretty funny because we'll be like, well, this one's less of a headache, but it's not about that. We need to give characters attention that deserve the attention, and you know, because some characters have less than others, some have more than others. So we want to try to make it an even playing field as best as we can, of course. And if it gets to that point where there's like a character that's got more articles that we've got to deal with, well, so be it. We'll make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I'm trying to think of what some other stuff that comes up in our currently twice a month update where we add new content. So we mentioned, the difference between the start of the month and the mid-month, right? You get the event at the start of the month. And then the mid-month, there's 2 types of mid-months, right? There's basically like the themed one, which is we continue the theme and we add a new skin where it's like we go generally a little bit crazier, right? So Frank and Daedalus is a great example, right? It's the Halloween mid-month where it's like we took the Halloween theme and we pushed it even further and made a crazy Daedalus. There's also like just the one-off mid-months where Um, we're either happy with the theme or we just want to do something else, right? We have some idea for some crazy skin like Salaryman Crag. So rather than doing another pirate one, we just have like a one-off. In terms of time, they're pretty similar, right? It is like an epic takes about, depending on what character it is, how far we go, an epic takes a similar time. The one difference though is like our planning, right? Because a lot of times the way the themed mid-months get set is we have 4 characters we want to do. We look at them and we're like, okay, this is going to be the most involved. So we upgrade that one to an epic. Or we say, hey, this character hasn't gotten an epic yet, in a mid-month epic. It's like a Pool Party Forsburn or something. Like Forsburn hadn't had a mid-month at that point. So Forsburn got, he got he not only got added to the pool party late, but he got like fast tracked up to be the epic in it. Those are the ways we look at it, right? So it's like, we basically know we're doing sometimes 5 skins, either 4 or 5. It really depends on what the free skin is. If the free skin is something we already had, like Otter Maple is funny because she was just like a skin that we made a really long time ago. Same with Pool Party Rano. That was just made like when we were learning about skins. So we were like, okay, this will just be the free one because we'll just, make it. It's a cheap, it would have been a cheap one in game as is. But sometimes we do 5. Like this month, the low poly Zetter was a brand new skin. He's rare quality. So it's like in November, right? There's basically like 5 new skins we had to track. Because there's 3 for the bundle, 1 for the event, then 1 for the mid-month.
A bunch of skins.
Yeah.
Oh, and I actually got an answer for Nathan DGR. He asked about why we changed the Rano low poly skin. Corey actually said we updated low poly Rano because he wasn't taking full advantage of blast zone processing. So thanks Corey. Appreciate that. That's a direct answer.
A real answer.
Yeah, that's a Corey answer, but hey, that's the answer.
No, the answer is Mafu, who does the low poly ones, wanted to update him to match, kind of like the quality and the style that had kind of been evolving. I think he might have been one of the first ones that Mafu did before. So it's not just like the colors, but just kind of the shape language as well. We felt like Rano didn't quite feel at the level of other characters, especially, you blur the game a little bit and it almost looked like you were using regular Rano. So
yeah, it was cool because like we didn't even talk about it. He was just like, hey, this Rano can look better. And we were like, oh, okay. And like that was one of those things where it was just kind of like everyone on our team, every once in a while, they'll just throw you a little surprise and you're like, oh wow, this is great. What? And yeah, he was just saying I was going to work on this. And then I didn't even see the in-between. I didn't even know it was going to happen. And then it just appeared and I was like, oh, that looks great. Awesome. Yeah.
Although, does he not have his hit effects loading right now? I was like, hold on, let me restart this. I just realized that. Hold on. Woo, 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 woo. Now okay, that is light. I was like, doesn't he normally have? Okay, and that's medium. No, I'm just crazy. Because it's only like the low poly, like elemental ones where we actually do the pixelization. So like regular physical hits just have like their normal. Like this would be low pot. Like there's pixel art flying coming out of him. And some pixel bubbles.
Sure. Look at them.
Yeah, the pixel effects are nice too because we also generally reuse them, right? So like the retro, any pixel art effects that we did for retro first, usually, then they get converted over for low poly, and sometimes we add stuff too. Like if we want to put a little bit of, if there is like some 3D particles we can do, we'll put them in the low poly, but usually the effects are, the pixel ones just come over from the retros, which helps speed up the process of adding a low poly character.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Cool. All right, yeah, I think I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but we can probably open it up to questions about.
Yeah, I've been seeing questions kind of flying around.
Yeah. So yeah, let's open up to some Q&A. Generally, just about the game. Let's try to keep it about the updates, the skins, things like that at first. Any questions you have for Miguel, preferably, because we'll have Miguel answer as many as he can, and then we can do a little bit of general Q&A at the end. But I think, yeah, let's do some skin/live production questions.
Man, I've been so biased, but I'm pretty sure this has been my favorite event yet. Just because, growing up with video games and everything, the whole like anything that's throwbacky or nostalgic in any particular way kind of tugs at my heartstrings. So I'm like, I can't wait for there to be more low poly characters and low poly maps, just because I'm a big fan of the whole aesthetic.
Yeah, no, the theme's awesome. And then Vin does a really good job of like he did all of these assets for it. So like the theming of Rivals, Super Rivals 3D, and then even like this text here. That's Vin on our team who claimed to fame. He created Hodon. So for people who like Hodon, this is right in your you should also enjoy all of his other stuff that he's added for Rivals too.
Mm-hmm. God, the faded look on that and everything was awesome too. It looks like it was something that came straight out of like an old video game magazine. It's so good.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, cool. I see some questions coming in. Somebody asked already about legendary ones. I mean, the real answers you'll have to wait for 2026. But this specific question, I think we can answer. Will legendary skins replace the character's rig, or will they go over like anyone's skin? I mean, to be a skin, like it has to use the same rig, right? Otherwise, it wouldn't be, it would change things enough that the gameplay would be broken. We are able to do a good amount though by like Corey helps us have like modifiers, so like you can use the same rig and have a different silhouette. And like the in-game heart boxes are the same, but the thing is you don't want to push it too much because you don't want, like let's say there's two reasons. One, you don't want to look like it should be getting hit where it's not, right? Let's say somebody has a character has a small head and you make their head twice as big for a skin. It's going to look like you're whiffing them because their hurt box isn't going to change because it's just a skin. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is a lot of people want us to add things to skins, right? Like a cloak or a long tail to a character that doesn't have one. In general, that's like kind of, it's not impossible, but it's nearly impossible because they don't have any animation data for that. And they don't have any bones, the base skin. So there's a couple ways you can like kind of achieve that, right? Like if you can let it be, because we are on SnapNet, like you could do slightly dynamic simulation, right? With like a cloth, but like the rigs and stuff aren't really like set up for that well. The other thing you could do is if you wanted to go like really crazy, you could like update the whole rig, right? To add, let's say, a tail to a character that doesn't have one. You could animate that on every single attack. And then you could turn that part of the character off normally. And that type of solution is something we have done in like Rivals 1 in the past. And I even think in Rivals 2, there's like little things like that where, there's an extra joint that is just not used except for certain skins. But it doesn't have any animation data to it. It's just like kind of attached. Like a socket, like a similar to how Poppy gets attached to characters. That solution is crazy, but like I wouldn't rule it out. Could be scenarios where like we want a specific character so bad that we're willing to like, for example, add animation data to a character that didn't have it before. But it would be a lot of work, and it would most of the time we're going to try to make skins that just use the existing rigs because that's crazy.
It makes sense to me.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Let's go through the question. Hey, Miguel, you find any questions that you can answer?
Let me see. I know there's a few that have been kind of all over the place. This is a pretty good one. How far ahead do y'all plan the different themes for each month? It's actually a really good question. To give you an idea, we've basically capped out what we planned for 2026. I think that information's pretty much solidified. We may go over it a little bit more, but all the themes are there. So it's kind of one of those things where um, I personally the producer in me wants to try to get that information as soon as we can. Sometimes it's easier said than done. So it'll be us talking with the art team, and by us I mean like Dan and I, us talking with the art team, going over things with Dan, seeing how Dan feels about it, how they feel about it, and just kind of try to get everyone onto the same page. And once we get there, we're good. The issue with that is just that sometimes it's a little bit of back and forth because, maybe we'll have a specific theme with specific skins in mind and including certain characters, and we need to go back over all that information to try to make sure it hits a sweet spot. So it's that's the thing that's kind of important, is making sure that everything aligns as best as it can, because we don't want anything to ever feel unbalanced in a way. You know what I mean? Like I said earlier, one character is getting more attention than another or anything like that. But there's also other ideas and maybe other events we'd want to bring back, maybe new events. You know what I mean? So there's a bunch of stuff that we talk about and try to get it sorted out. But usually we try to do it as soon as possible, for the next year. So it's like I said, the year's not over yet, and I think that we basically are at a point right now where we have, everything planned out. And it may change a little bit, but I don't think it's going to change too much.
Yeah. 2026 is pretty solidified for sure. Yeah, because one thing we're doing along with like skins and the way we update the game is also, we mentioned like we put out that build, then we have like 2 hot fixes that we like kind of do right after. That's gonna have to like slow down too, like especially as we're starting to focus on console and like how this game is going to be not just on console but cross play, right? Where we want to keep the player base able to play against each other as much as possible, which means like if there's any gameplay changes that's PC Steam has, then you're gonna have to separate. They're basically, all the consoles are gonna be a version behind. So to limit that, like our builds will have to be not more buttoned up, right? In terms of like just making sure we've eliminated more bugs, but then also reducing how frequently we're updating. So like that's something that we're looking at moving towards eventually as well, on top of just the release cadence, patch cadence, all of that, trying to like slow it down. Like my high level goal is like I'd love to get everything on like a more solid like 3-month cadence, where it's like because right now we've established that we're trying to do 4 characters a year, which 4 characters per year is basically like a 3-month rotation, right? We're not married to having it have to be perfect for characters, right? Because we're willing to move things around to for our team's timing and for events. But if we could get the whole game on like this 3-month rotation, like that would be like a really nice place to be, because that's a lot easier to update and to sustain long term. But it also means that because it is a live service and people want more stuff more frequently, there'd have to be still updates in between, or the shop adding stuff in between. So yeah, the goal would be like the game, the executable file of the game is updating every 3 months, right? But then there's still the shop and other stuff is updating in between more frequently than that. That would be my hope in like the long term, but that's like beyond 2026. So like 2026, we're still working around the game just being on PC right now.
Yeah, I keep seeing questions talking about like if there's going to be any reoccurring events. I mean, that's so the plan is we have the ideas for new events, but we also do have plans for some returning events. But we're kind of being selective as to what those events are. We think they're the ones that are probably more favorited or just more highly praised. But there's definitely new ones that we want to bring to.
Yeah, one of the cool things of being like our size and indie, right? We're around like 30 people at the studio all up. We can operate on a couple different levels, and like one of the like we have data, right? And we do look at PlayFlab for a lot of things. But we also, just kind of like anecdotal evidence too is pretty powerful, right? Like if you catch Jamie at Evo and you're hyping up, Ether Legends, right? Being like, oh man, me and all my friends, like this is our favorite event. Like we really want to see Ether Legends back. Like that actually has weight. Like we're a team in a size where like that will impact when we discuss 2026, right? So while we do want to make sure we're like using data and we're seeing kind of what sells well and everything else, we're not like, I don't know, we're not Fortnite or we're not Riot where it's like, they have whole analytics teams that are driving decisions. We're like,
Yeah.
we're in this in between where we're an indie live service. So like we're operating both on, some numbers and then just some feels, shooting from the hip too. So we definitely, if there are things you like, make sure you're letting us know, hit us up on Note. What's your favorite events, things like that. Because even though, especially on something like Note, we don't always reply. I've mentioned it before. Like one of the reasons it's difficult to reply to everything is like every single post is taken as, official word. It reminds me of when I was in high school and I was on, like the WoW forums. Anytime there was like a blue response to a thread, like everyone knew it, and there would be places where all they did was track all of the blue responses and like analyze those in detail.
Like,
yeah, that's kind of what our posts are like too. So like we got to make sure we have a good response, but we do read more than we post. So like, we're lurking, we're sharing it, we're making adjustments. So yeah, along with bugs and things like that, if there's any other feedback you have, you can share it, because even the character art team is checking out the Note and seeing what people like and don't like.
Yeah, exactly. Please do. Like Nolt's a really good way to kind of get through to us about anything, honestly, and we do review it so and regularly. So
yeah, for sure. Any other questions you saw that are good?
would you consider a spin on previous theme like Ether Legends that is set in the future with like descendant skins, like how Clearin is from the future? Interesting.
A skin. Hold on, let me see if I can find that one. What is you mean a skin theme that's set in the future, or just like more future skins in general?
Yeah, it sounds like they were saying like a spin on a previous theme. So it's like a Ether Legends theme, but it's set in the future. So it's kind of like,
I mean, yeah, the future is definitely like one of the places we're pulling inspo from for just Ether Legends in general. Like we have
yeah, I said a spin on a previous theme broadly.
Yeah, we did like the Ranger fleet, I think it is. It was pretty cool, and is like a pulling from the designs from Tales of Ether. So yeah, I would say if we brought back Ether Legends, like I would expect to see some more future inspired skins. I don't know if they would be the exact what they're thinking in terms of Ether Legends, that is like descendant skins. Yeah, I don't know if it'd be exactly descendants, right? If we'd establish like this is this person's grandchild, because at that point we'd probably want to work with concept art and things like that. Someone just rang my doorbell.
Wasn't me.
Do I actually need to answer that? I'm gonna say probably not.
Black and yellow palette Mecha Absa win.
I think I know who that is. Maybe eventually. Sure.
Yeah. I feel like there's gonna be a point where if there isn't a palette for something yet, then you'll probably see it. At some point.
I saw some people asking about keyboard controls, which is not really related to live service, but I'll answer it anyway. Will you fix keyboard controls for us 5 keyboard players? For example, the alt button doesn't work when holding shift for shield. They can't plat drop. Okay, so one, yeah, we are changing our controller input over from raw input to SDL, so there will be some things that change. But in general, some of the keyboard things can get fixed by us, whether it's changing the input method or making fixes in Unreal in terms of how we handle it. There are like keyboard things that like actually we can't fix because it's at like a basically like a BIOS level, like a Windows level, right? Or your hardware level, where like Some keyboards, like as soon as you hold shift, like that will start, you can only have so many buttons down total, things like that. So it really depends on the specific bug whether or not our controller update will fix it. We're going to try to fix a bunch of things, and we're also adding like just better keyboard UX, user experience, for if you're a keyboard player. We saw at launch, if you came from Rivals 1 and you used the controller and you got the game at launch, you probably had an okay experience, at least in terms of like getting yourself set up and being able to get into gameplay. You might have gone on ranked and still gotten yourself obliterated, like I do sometimes. But in terms of like at least the idea of like, okay, I can play and I can set up my controller. If you came from Brawlhalla and you used keyboard and you tried to play Rivals 2 at launch, there was a lot of difficulty, right? Because especially if you hadn't played Rivals 1 much, even just like setting the keys in character select and like in that small menu, and then like also, let's say you use WASD, like how long it would take you to set up a control scheme for yourself when you haven't played the game yet is kind of difficult, right? Because there's just way more actions than some other platformers you might be used to. So we are trying to not just update the controllers and trying to get GameCube to work on, Steam Deck and a bunch of other reasons why we're looking at SDL, but we're also trying to improve the user experience for a keyboard player who hasn't played Rivals before. And that should be part of the controller update. And the controller update is planned for pretty soon. We're testing it right now with like closed testers. And it's still planned before the end of this year, which was, there's only 3 patches left. So we got advanced tutorials and controller updates. I think those are the last 2 things on the 2025 roadmap that haven't been delivered. And both of those are still planned before the end of this year as of right now, right? We haven't delayed either of them out yet. So we got, a month and a half to basically get, those are the last 2 to get out. We got Joe and Walls on our team, the 2 engineers working on those features.
Yeah, and they're looking like they're going to land. So let's go team.
Yeah.
Here's another good question if you're ready. Any thoughts or ideas on incorporating the story of the World of Ether into seasonal updates or events besides major story mode updates / chapters?
That's a good question. Right now, like we basically we have story moving in character trailers, right? Where you get some information. We had talked about doing some more story inside of Rivals 2. I know Matt on our team was pushing for a version where you get story pieces from arcade mode. And it was funny because he started it from an idea of like, well, I just want to like deliver a little bit of story. And then when he wrote it down on paper, it was basically Rivals 1 story mode. Again, right? Where it's like, well, that's what that was.
There
which,
you go.
Is still like a decent amount of work for both the UI and, Ian, our narrative designer on our team to come up with. And the funny thing too is like one of the complaints in Rivals 1 that people had was how the fights and the story are not tied, right? Because the story, let's say, for example, Crag, it all takes place on like the rock wall, but you're like fighting, the next fight is like Forsberg and Blazing Hideout, right? They want like every fight to be like, you're following the character through these fights. And I remember Matt being like, well, that's what feedback people had. So like he was also trying to make that make sense. And I'm like, it's so hard. Like, that's why we couldn't do it in Rivals 1. It's so hard to tell a story that's like, people don't want to read either. So it's like you have to go fast enough to get them to like 6 different locations really, really fast in a really short period of time. So for all those reasons, that's the reason we avoided. We were going to try to slide something into arcade mode. Even pre-launch, we talked about putting a little story in there. But weren't able to land on anything that made sense. But doing it through events is a pretty good idea.
Hmm.
Not something we considered, right? Because a lot of the event videos come from off brand. So Chris, their video editor on the team, has been doing them lately. Um, so we would have to like coordinate. AE would have to basically like kind of deliver the script as opposed to their team, coming up with the video script. But it's a cool idea, and I could see doing it for like one or two events that are more closely tied to the lore, as opposed to Rivals 3D, which is obviously very far removed from the lore.
Yeah. Oh, someone mentioned the featured tab is getting kind of bloated with all the bundles. Do you have any plans to get around that?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, because that's something I'm genuinely curious about too. Because I'm like, I don't know if we could like archive or like to the point where they're still accessible. You know what I mean? Like maybe we could like a subcategory somewhere or something.
I think we need to maybe honestly just create a new bundles tab
Hmm.
for old bundles, and then featured would just have the actual ones we want featured plus any of the ones that we want to keep left for coins, like
Yeah,
the
that
metal
makes sense.
graveyard um, skin, because the only way you can get it for coins is because we've shoved it in here.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's actually something we should probably, Miguel, mention to the UI team, because they've been working on some updates. It would probably be smart to just throw all of these bundles into their own listing somewhere.
Yeah, I'm making a note. Because I mean, that is a very good point. And I mean, that was something that I was very happy with when I joined the team, is knowing that like those bundles aren't, we want those bundles to be available. We don't want people to feel like they're going to get crazy FOMO or something. Like they're there to get.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah,
yeah, the issue with that is that this will happen. So yeah, I
I
mean,
know.
it's an easy workaround, but yeah, we'll figure it out and get it all nice and pretty.
It's funny too, because I've actually seen like negative reviews, because when you open the shop, like, right, you can just look at all of these and see just the dollar amount that it would cost to just like buy all of this. And you're like, wait, this game costs money, plus it has, do the math, add all of this up. But yeah, one reason is because a lot of games wouldn't let you keep getting these, right? You'd have to go,
Mm-hmm.
buy bucks and get these for bucks, and some of the stuff would be exclusive then. But then the other thing too is like all of these bundles, they also have like currency and stuff in them. So it's like they're designed so ideally, if you're a super fan, you are buying the bundles, and then you have enough currency to also get any other one-off stuff. But if you're not a super fan, they're kind of designed so you just buy the ones you want, and then you use bucks to get, other stuff that you might have missed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm fully biased, but I think that the way that we go about things is very modest for the player. Again, that was something that I was very happy with coming onto the team, because I was like, as someone as old as I am now that still plays games, and I dabble in live service games, just the whole FOMO thing really sucks, especially when it's like a lot of live service games expect you to give them all of your time, and a lot of us don't have that time to give. So it really sucks when you miss out on really cool things or really cool items that you wish you could have because you don't have that time to give. Whereas for us, we have these bundles and stuff that players can always grab whenever they're able. So
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I've noticed from just playing games over the years, like any service game, is like players kind of slip into one of two places. It's like there's so much stuff happening, and if you're playing the game, you're engaging with it, but you're not playing enough, you kind of just ignore
hmm
all of it, and then you end up not spending and you're not engaged with the systems. Or you go the other route where you're playing a lot and you are super on top of it, but then you're getting stressed over like missing, right? Like you're not playing enough, or you're not able to get everything, and that's stressing you out because you're trying to like you're like, I play this game enough, I should be able to get all the items. And I feel like both of those don't feel great, right? So like in
Yeah.
our game, we tried to like really thread the needle of like, oh look, you can go back and do all the events, and you can everything is still available. So they're like, there is still like a little bit of FOMO, like, right, there's still Evo,
Mhm.
Olympia, and other skins that
Oh yeah, yeah.
have, or like, you gotta get them when they're in those pages. But we really tried to minimize it as much as we could, because we know like people, not everyone, especially a fighting game, like I think a normal way to engage with it is like you come back, right? You don't play it for a couple months, you come back and then you play it like every day for 2 weeks, because you're like, oh wow, I really like Galvin, or I really like this, or they made a new skin for my character, and I'm like, I like the changes. And then maybe you do take another couple months off. So it's like part of our thinking was like designing, the shop and the events around that. So it's like, hey, if you did take a couple months off, but your, pool party is your favorite theme, you can still get back in here. You can buy the pool party bundle. This is Riptide, so not a good example. But you can buy the pool party bundle. You can do the pool party event. You can get the free pool party items. And then you can... Oh, I didn't claim this because... What was it? Oh, I need that for sure. And then you're basically like not missing out. Oh, I didn't get him either.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I know that there's a reality where not everyone can be happy, but I feel like the path that we've taken is, I fully believe in, probably one of the better paths we could take in this kind of situation. Because kind of like what you were saying too, as someone that still actively plays games, there was one live service game where, yeah, I kind of took the path where I was like, I don't know. I got over being sick the last couple of days, so maybe it was my sick brain. But a part of me was like, I'm just going to stop playing this now, because I realized that so much of it revolved around trying to take all of my time that I just couldn't give anymore. And it was just one of those things where I was like, I guess I'll just uninstall and I'll leave. And I don't think that me doing that, it felt kind of, it felt almost like a knee-jerk reaction. But at the same time, after I did it, I was like, I know why I did this. You know what I mean? It was like, I understand why I did that. It wasn't that I didn't like the game. It wasn't that I didn't like how the game is going or whatever, or the future. It was just the fact that it was expecting too much from me, and too much that I could provide to get something good out of it. You know what I mean? And
Right.
so it started becoming a reoccurring theme of like, man, okay, I guess I got to buy this like pass thing. I really want that one skin, but I don't want to like buy all the items just to get that skin. So to grind would have to be an insane amount of time that I do not have. And it was just a reoccurring theme. So I was like, let me just back out, just kind of like Homer in the bushes, just kind of fade out of the community. Like, I'm good. But I think that with what we're doing, I mean, yeah, I'm glad that they brought that up about us like archiving bundles and stuff, because I think that we kind of knew that was going to happen anyway, especially because like we don't want to take from y'all. We want to continue to give y'all. You know what I mean? Like, we want to give more cosmetics. We want to give more items. We want to flush out the world of Ether even more. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, because of that, there's going to be more content, and because of that, yeah, we should probably find a way to break it down a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think like it's funny for me because like the way I play Rivals 2 is the same way I play like other games, where it's like I'm a competitive type. So like I play TFT, but on my phone, but I don't pay attention, right? It's like just like this, right? You open up my pool party and I didn't claim any of the items. It's like, but I played ranked enough in July. Oh, I crashed my cube again. But I played it enough that I got the rewards, and then I like didn't engage. And that's kind of how I play other games as well, right? Where it's like I'm just playing it for the gameplay, and then like sometimes I'm paying attention to the cosmetics and I'm getting everything, but sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'm literally, all I do is open it up, play my match, close the game. But we got to know, for like our type of game, there's multiple types of gamers, and some of them are like completionists, where their goal is like to get everything. Some of them are like more social and casual, where it's like they want to have the skins to like play with their friends. Even for someone like them, there's Tom on our team has been prioritizing like maybe we want to try to get some kind of way that players can gift skins, right? Because for that social gamer, it's not just the ability to like use a skin, right? They'd love to like I want to give my friends the low poly skins, and then I want to be able to hop in a match where we all play on low poly fire capital and we're all using low poly, right? Like that could be
Yeah.
something that they really want. And that's not necessarily the same type of gamer as me, right? So it's like we want to make sure like our systems are designed so like no matter what kind of way that you want to engage with this, there's stuff for you. And I think right now we're in a good spot where it doesn't get in the way, right? Of people who just want to go hop in and play ranked and log back off, right? Like there's nothing that's like in my face and blocking me from doing that. But we do want to make sure it's fun for other types of gamers as well. People who don't care about climbing the rank ladder and things like that.
Yeah, and I think we do a great job of that, and I know that there are definitely plans to improve that even further. So it's awesome.
All right, 11-11. Well, let's do one final question. I think would be good.
Let's see who can find it first.
Yeah, let's see what we got. Yeah, I saw some people saying that they really like, especially on YouTube, like, hey, I really like the way you guys monetize it. It feels good. I mean, one thing we thought about too is like, because we're indie, we mentioned like, hey, like you could hit us up at an event and say something. We also know that like a significant portion of our revenue is coming from players who are buying stuff because they like want to support us, right? Whereas like if you're a bigger company, that's like a much smaller percent, right? Like, Fortnite, for example, Epic's not relying on people being like, wow, I'm such a big Epic fan that I want to make sure I buy every skin to like make sure these Epic devs can eat at night. I don't think that's a very significant percent of their revenue, right? So like on the flip side, they're doing things where they're like, hey, we have a psychologist on our team who's like figuring out ways to like, maximize efficiency in this regard. And like it's not something that we are prioritizing the same way. Like we want to make sure there is stuff so when new people come in they're incentivized, but we also want to make sure like we're adding stuff where the people who want to keep supporting us feel good about it, right? We don't want to like basically make changes, do the dark patterns that turn off our long-term supporting fans in exchange for like that revenue from the new player who may or may not, stick around long enough to even have it matter, right? Like we know that the players who stick around tend to like not just the game, but our team. So it's like we want to make sure that as much of this is done in a way that it feels good, right? Like you can feel good supporting Ether Studios and you don't feel like you're putting your money in a slot machine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing is it's a cycle where we appreciate y'all very, very much, and we hope that y'all appreciate us, and it's just gonna keep on going.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't a question though. So let's. Did you find a good question?
I think there was one other one. Let me see. I just missed it. Any plan for event game modes?
That's a really good idea too. I think, like I mentioned, I really want to get us down to like a 3-month schedule. I think like game modes, especially if they're simpler, would make more sense on that schedule. Right now we're focused on casual stages and items, but the funny thing with that is once those are up and running, then it's like you can use those as levers to make something like a game mode easier, right? Like imagine, you make a little basket and you got to throw the items in the basket. And now all of a sudden you have, Rivals Ball. So I think things like that it's a good goal to have, but we'd probably be looking at like 2027. Because 2026, I think our goals for 2026 are going to make the game a lot more appealing to non-competitive players in general, right? We literally have workshop characters, casual stages, and items all on our schedule. And I don't want to jinx anything, but they're all aggressively scheduled.
They are.
Like compared to controller updates and advanced tutorials, which are coming out the last 2 months of the year. These are not scheduled like that. They are more aggressively scheduled. So yeah, I think like by the end of next year, we'll already be in a better spot.
Definitely.
I've even been working on design docs to kind of rethink how the online queues work to help, resuscitate something like 2v2 queue. I think once we have items, like there will be people queuing for casual more frequently as well. So like using some of the work Tom's been doing with backfill to like make that be a part of casual queuing. So all of that stuff should help. And then if it goes well, then that's where, there's more doors open for, that kind of stuff where like, I don't know, the event is themed and there's a game mode that's themed around it as well. I think that stuff's super enticing.
For sure. Like I thought that was a great idea too. And that's one of those things. It's like you said, it's 2026 is looking pretty aggressive, but it's a fat active year is what it's looking like. It's exciting.
Yeah. One thing that does scare me, I'll say, like at a high level of like the way live service works is like the temporary, all the content that like comes and then goes, right? If you think of League of Legends, like not just Dominion, which was like a game mode they had that's now gone, but like there are other ones they do, like the boss battles, and they even had like a co-op roguelike that existed for a little bit, that was themed around like the galaxy theme. Those things terrify me because some of the dev work on that is probably similar to like Rivals 2 All Up, right? Like the budget for like their Odyssey mode is probably similar, and then that's all available and then gone, right? So I think for us, what we'd be doing is like even the fun modes, like we'd want to keep them intact so you can still play them in lobbies later, but like the rotating part would be the queue. The downside of that though is the reason like League, for example, removes them is like it's a lot of upkeep. Like let's say you make Rivals Ball and then you put it out and it's up for it's a queue for 3 months, and then you're like, okay, this is now, you can't queue for it anymore, but it's in lobbies, so you can still turn it on with your friends. Now that means for our team, we have to, anytime we add a new character, we got to make sure that they're compatible with Rivals Ball, or we change a mechanic, or we change a special. You know what I mean? So it's like any of those like rotating modes, you either have to actually remove it, which feels sad from a player's perspective, or you have to keep it going, and now you're increasing the work on the rest of the team to keep it online. So I feel like what we'd probably do is like, I don't know, we'd have to see what the balance is. We'd probably try to be like really smart in terms of what we do to try to make stuff that won't have much upkeep. So like Rivals Tetherball, for example, once it worked, we didn't really have to think about it much. We just had to make sure like things didn't break, they didn't crash, was like the main thing.
Yeah, that's the scary part.
Yeah. But it is something we've thought about. It's like this, one of the reasons this hasn't been prioritized yet is because of that. Yeah, that fear of having to do a bunch of work and then take it offline. Like that would stink.
Yeah, no kidding.
Cool. Well, that's, I think, all the time we have for questions. Miguel, any final words? What if somebody wanted to get into this? They wanted to be a producer for live service or their favorite game. How do they go about learning these skills and getting their foot in the door here?
I think a lot of it comes from, so deep down, I've always wanted to help people. I enjoy helping people. So that's kind of what helped me want to get involved in production, is just kind of because you help the team. You're helping the team, you're helping the project, you're making things work. That's really where it started. Keeping track of things for yourself, for others, and just making sure you keep tabs on everything, and just make sure that you keep everything logged, tasked. All of that's really important. But if you feel like that kind of stuff is something that interests you, I think that it wouldn't hurt to look into. The game industry is an interesting place. You can get started in a variety of ways. I got started in QA, and worked my way up through QA and into community, and here I am in production. So I mean, at some point there are stepping stones. You can kind of find out what works for you, and you can go from there. But I think that as long as you've got the heart and the passion for it, you can definitely find the right place, and it's just a matter of time and work. But you'll get there. So
Nice. So wait, if I'm naturally an unorganized person and my a room is messy, can I still be a producer?
you can still be a wonderful producer.
That's good to know. That reassures me. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, yeah, thanks for hopping on the call. Thanks for walking through. I think it's a big part of the game and a big part of our development, right? Is like managing these updates twice a month. So it's cool to be able to talk about it. And yeah, we'll be digging into some other topics in some future dev streams. So thank you everyone for tuning in.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Thanks for supporting us, and we'll continue doing our thing.
Bye.